So Invincible just finished its 3rd season, and honestly, it doesn't really feel like it. It's probably because of the terrible marketing, but this season barely registered in my head. I realized it was going to come out the following week like days before, and it was a dawning revelation. Thankfully, the wait was shorter and there was no mid-season break this time around. I don't know what they were thinking last year. And it did pull me back in immediately, but I will say that it didn't really have a grip on me the whole way through. Part of that is because of the actual problems with the season, which I'll get to. But I think the absolute biggest problem with this season by far was airing episodes less than 24 hours before Severance. That's next video. I'm not going to talk about Severance here, but I'll just say that as much as I love this show, Coughing Baby vs. Hydrogen Bomb does not begin to cover the difference in quality. It's like Baby with Asthma versus Nuclear Power Plant. I cannot wait to talk about Severance. Anyway, I still did really enjoy this season. I think this show is probably the best piece of superhero content we're getting right now, at least on the movie and TV side. It's pretty meta and self-aware of comic book tropes, but it uses that to its advantage. Instead of being a parody, it's able to be an even more faithful superhero story. It knows that you know all the superhero basics, so it doesn't really waste any time explaining anything. This world has everything: teenage superheroes trying to do good, alien supervillains, superhero teams. Its only difference is that it's aware all of this is familiar material, and it uses that to its advantage. I've seen many people talk about this show in the same vein as The Boys, and I gotta say, I think those people miss the point. Aside from the other obvious differences between the two, this story feels like a love letter to superheroes. For example, when it comes to the handling of Mark's love life, the approach isn't, everyone's seen this with Peter and MJ or Clark and Lois, let's put an unexpected twist to it. It's, everyone has seen some version of the story, let's explore it in a new way. Everything is very genuine, yet still fresh. It's been like this since season 1, but I think it's gotten even better at adapting classic superhero arcs. One thing I don't think has gone better since season 1, however, is the animation. I'm sure most people who watch the show were expecting me to go here, but man, if they spent a little less on celebrity voice actors and use that extra money to pay the animators more, this show would be leagues better. Now I will admit, it has gone better since season 1, but last season did feel like a huge improvement in terms of the animation, and now it feels worse. Like, we downgraded from season 2. It's not as bad as his first season, sure, but the animation looked better last season. They did thankfully lock in for the finale, like, that episode looked insanely better, but the PNG accusations are more valid than I like to admit. There's a lot of scenes where characters are just still images. It's very distracting. And I'm not blaming the animators, I'm sure they're very overworked as is, but like I said, this cast cannot be cheap. I'm sure they can afford to have a few less A-listers. Mark Hamill does not need to play the fucking suit maker. He's good in it, but the sacrifice is not worth it. On that topic, by the way, I understand the thematic reasoning for the new suit, but I still like the old one more. The celebrity cast is still top tier though. Everyone from the previous seasons is still great. Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons, Gillian Jacobs, Jason Mantzoukas, fucking Seth Rogen. They all continue to be perfect in their roles. Walton Goggins is honestly super underrated as Cecil. I adore Ben Schwartz as Shapesmith, and I did not appreciate his fake-out deaths. And Steven Yeun is far and above the best performance, no contest. The newcomers this season are also fantastic. Christian Convery as Oliver was a spot-on role. I hope Jonathan Banks is utilized more in upcoming seasons. I really liked Zolo Maridueña in Blue Beetle, and I'm psyched to see him in more roles. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was intimidating as hell, and literally nobody will disagree with me when I say the best new performance was from Aaron Paul. I mean, Zam! Who knew he could give such a great vocal performance? I did. Go watch BoJack Horseman. But still, he channeled that one scene from Breaking Bad where he yells, "You can't keep getting away with it!" I'm very excited to see him again. Oh, and while we're talking about general aspects, fuck Amazon Prime. These fucking ads are atrocious. Oh my god. I get 5 ads back to back multiple times an episode. And then my subtitles turn off after every ad break. Are you fucking kidding me? Jeff Bezos needs to be in jail for this. So this season's initial conflict is with Cecil. I'll just say it, Cecil's one of the best characters in the show. It doesn't make any sense, he has no right being this interesting, but I loved him in this season. I love that you can see both Mark and Cecil's sides in their moral debate. They both make good points, which is the key to a good ethical dilemma. If I can't solve the issues as an outsider observing with no stakes in the matter, then you've done a good job. Mark has every right to be mad that Cecil lets bad guys off the hook, but Cecil has a genuine point in trying to rehabilitate them. I can't even get mad at him for putting that chip inside Mark's head. It's a necessary precaution, but I also can't get mad at Mark for not liking it. Their conflict was the most interesting part of the season by far. Whenever Cecil showed up, I locked the fuck in. The rest of the conflicts, I don't know. I like Villain of the Week as a concept, but I didn't love the execution. I feel we still could have had a bit of an overarching plot. This season just kind of felt unfocused and random, which got me less invested in the story. The time travel episode actually worked quite well for me. The only thing holding it back was the stiff animation. The dragon guy did not grab me at all. The fight was solid, and the way Multi-Paul broke out of jail was actually raw as fuck, but nothing in that episode I really cared for. The main villain reminded me of Tombstone in Spectacular Spider-Man, which was cool, but he was just pretty uninteresting. I also don't get why Eve can't just materialize money. Like, I don't think I'm ignoring a character arc or anything by saying that. She learned that she needs to be more careful with her powers last season, but I don't think this quite falls under that jurisdiction. I also was never really into the Mark and Eve relationship this season. I like them as a concept. I think superheroes dating is a cool idea, and I was kind of tired of the regular person who dates a superhero can't spend time with them because of responsibilities. I think a couple fighting together is a lot more interesting. But their relationship just lacks the sauce. I didn't want them to force artificial drama or anything, but every scene with them is either, oh my god, I love you so much, or Mark going through an existential crisis. It also doesn't help that the other ongoing TV relationship involving a character named Mark is the most interesting romance dynamic I've ever seen with no hyperbole, but even putting that aside, there are scenes where it were just so plain it started getting annoying. Anyway, Paraplex was a pretty solid antagonist. I already talked about his performance, but his motivations were really interesting, and so was his power set. I don't think I loved that episode the same way a lot of people did, mostly because I really don't think Paraplex had a valid point. It's interesting to see unfold, but like, Mark isn't responsible for that's his villain's cause. I refuse to give this to him. The title card drops were banging in that episode though. Then we get to the Invincible War, where I will put up an official spoiler warning. I thought the episode was good. Definitely had some pacing issues, but I enjoyed it. I just don't like that they brought Angstrom back. It's weird because I think him coming back adds to Mark's character journey by the end. I really like the dark turn it takes, and this does help it get there, but it also kind of messes with this big moment from last season. Not to mention, how the fuck did he survive that? And also, the show just sets up way too many villains. Every episode ends with a new tease, and it feels way too overcrowded. I mean, when we went through our usual setup montage in the finale, we saw the Martians again. Haven't they been teased since the first season? Are we ever gonna get to them? The finale was solid. Conquest was a great final boss to end the season with. That was the only week where the cliffhanger actually had me fuming. He was exactly what Mark needed to break him. A super powerful threat that has a super fun psychopath energy to him. The villain who wants a good fight trope always works for me, this being no exception. The fight was phenomenal, and I'm really curious to see where Mark's new headspace takes him. The non-villain stuff this season I thought also worked pretty well. Oliver's such a great character for so many reasons. He's funny, he's adorable, and his insane skill set combined with his okayness with killing was a top tier situation for Mark to try and handle. I loved their dynamic. I really thought he was going to demolish those bullies. Also, god, I hope the Mauler twins come back. The Paul plotline is exactly what Debbie deserved. I'm sending my best wishes to those two. Omni-Man and Alan's new friendship was probably my favorite part of the season. The Guardians of the Globe were good too. Immortal made for a fun one-off antagonist. I'm deeply interested in Monster Girl for some fucking reason. Her de-aging gimmick just has me hooked, and I hope the new device works. And Robot needs to stay in his fucking lane. I will not be calling you Rex, you shithead. Back the fuck off. Yeah, I guess I need to talk about it. Rex, fuck, I'm gonna miss you so much. I love that bastard, and his relationship with Ray was so cute, and I will dearly miss him. Robot ruined his goddamn funeral. It was bad enough that everyone else got their PNGs to attend instead. Why was nobody weirded the fuck out by the name change? That shit was creepy. Anyway, that's basically all I have to say. I think the animation could be better, and the season just lacked a big conflict to have me hooked. But like I said, most of it was just solid. 8 out of 10, pay those animators more.